Hi, and welcome once again to TonyWilliams.com. As I always say at the start of all my posts, I hope some of the materials that I'm able to share here today can get an average person like myself going from a place of good to greatness as we struggle and strive to reconstruct ourselves from the life we used to live, to build a legacy for ourselves that's sustainable and that would hopefully last. Today I just want to ask a simple question, and the question is, why do you think anybody else deserves success more than you do? Why do you think my neighbor, my friend, my partner, my colleague, whoever, qualifies to be more successful than I am? Or why do you think they qualify to be more successful than I do? Is it because they come from a privileged background, or they're more schooled and learned than I am, or they have they've worked harder, or they've dedicated themselves more, or they've never been off rail, in all the whole course of their life? Why do we come up with that perspective or mindset that, for whatever reason, justifiable, the next person should be more successful than I? My breaking news is really, success is not something that I believe should be earned. I believe it's our individual right, like it's my right, it's your right, it's our God-given right that we should be successful. And the only qualification that anybody has to be successful is the usage, or how he or she utilizes the brains that's been embedded in his head from birth. That's the only qualification to be successful. Not how privileged a person is, not how learned they've been, not how schooled they've been, but how we choose to use the gifts and the talents that God has given us from we were sort of conceived or created into this earth. And it's simply the tendency not to use these brains and talents or gifts, or our mind properly, that qualifies us to fail. Anything other than that, we ought to be successful. It's as simple as that. We weren't equipped to sort of, with our brains and our all the talents that we have, so that we could abdicate that to somebody else's control. It was, if God wanted that to happen, he wouldn't give us our own individual brains and own individual talents and own individual gifts. He'd give it to somebody else and say, look, pass it on to me, or pass it on to the next person. But really what he done is that once he created us, he gave every single person a gift or a talent or his brain or the power of choice by themselves, so they could use it to affect their life in a very, very positive manner. And if we choose not to use it that way, then we qualify to fail in retrospect, and that there's no other way to say it. There's some insects, I think I read about it a few months ago, that they're called the pine caterpillars. And basically they're some insect that they're kind of insect or caterpillar that's literally got no imagination. So what happens is, when you put them, so back to back, if you put like a whole ton of them and you just use each pine caterpillar to form a circle around them, they would continually go around that circle. They're never gonna, not one is gonna break out of that circle and go a different way, because they just follow the caterpillar in front, and they will continually go around in that circle. And it was even said that if they put food in the middle of that circle, if they put food in the middle of that circle, they still won't go for that food. They'll be going around in that circle because they're just following the caterpillar in front, follow the leader, follow the leader, follow the leader, until they eventually starve to death. And unfortunately, that's how most of our lives are today. A lot of people just want to follow and follow and follow and follow. Nobody wants to be, or use their own creative initiative to step out of the crowd. We want to be safe and secure, and just eat, wake, work, sleep, and just guarantee our bills are paid, guarantees our homes got a roof. Nobody wants to break out of this sort of box of confirmation that this social world puts us in, and just go for the wild on a wild goose chase of success, if I want to put it that way. It will be sad if we get to a stage in life and we're sort of charged, or we put it this way. Mike, what's his name? Miles Monroe. That's it. Miles Monroe. One of his quotes was the richest place on earth is in the graveyard, and that means, or what he was trying to say was that the graveyard is where so many untapped talents and so many untapped destinies and so many untapped plans or birth plans or or so many startup businesses that never took off. So many plans and purposes all died with the dreamer, and they're all buried in the graveyard. And I thought of that the other day, but I thought one better, and I thought, imagine at least those are dead and they're gone. Imagine if tomorrow we wake up in our own right and we just face a sudden tribunal. And we're charged with, what we've done with our lives, we're charged with, maybe wasting life, like they said, oh, you're charged for wasting your life. How do you plead? And you find yourself having to plead guilty that, you've lived 20, maybe not 20, maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and you could only know or only testify or really say to yourself that when I look back, my life has been a waste, but yet you're still alive. So that would be gross, to say the least. That would be damaging. That would be something that I won't be able to conceive in my lifetime. That I spent so much time where their children who were begging to come to, to live to a certain age so that they could, plan a life and get a purpose in life, or adults who strive all their life and, try to get something but then die at very young age, or die of sickness, or die of illness. And we're here, we're strong, we're healthy, we've got the power of a sound mind, and we've lived all these years, and we look back and there's absolutely nothing to show for it. I find that very, very, very disheartening and scary, to be honest. And the only way to do it is to take control of our lives. We've got to take control of the success that we want. Nobody else is responsible for our success. We are the ones who are responsible for our success ourselves. Not Mr. A, not Mr. B, not our mom, not our dad, not our auntie, only us are responsible for our success. And if we start to realize that, then we will start to realize that for success to come, we have to start taking steps towards birthing that success, identifying what our talents are, identifying what our gifts are, using our brain more often. Let's not just keep our brain up there and it's something that we use, as they say, for Christmas decoration. We've got to use it more often. We've got to think. We've got to be, our imagination is beyond measure. And I keep on saying that we wouldn't be able to have such a wide and vast imagination without having the tools to simultaneously make those imaginations come to pass. I can't remember who said it. So whatever we could conceive and believe, we could achieve, and that's the God honest truth. And so we've got to start thinking to ourselves, we are more than capable of making these things work. If we keep sitting every day on our arse and expecting the world to come to us to make it work. We'll sit there till kingdom come. We'll be like that pine caterpillar, just going round in circles, you know. And breaking news is that even if the world wants to come to you, they have to know where you are. So we've got to go out there and announce ourselves, and don't worry about whether, you know, if you're out there, you know, and you announce yourself, it doesn't start right, or it's imperfect. By nature, we're imperfect people. You know, we're not perfect, so there's nothing that we're going to do from the start that's going to be perfect. You know, it's always practice makes perfect. So we have to go out there, step in. You know, a baby, when they want to start walking, you know, they stumble, they twist to the left, they twist to the right, you know, but, you know, eventually, after a period of time of relentlessly trying it, they gain their balance, and then they'll be able to walk, and then soon you see that same baby being able to run, and then, you know, that baby it's now on its own, you know. So the time is now. Yesterday is gone, it's buried, there's nothing you could do with it. Tomorrow is literally like a promise note, you know, or is not even promised, you know. Today is the only time we have. Now is the only negotiable currency that we have that's guaranteed. We could use our gifts and our talents for, you know, to make our life a better place, or to make our life where fulfill, or to begin on the journey of fulfilling our supposed destiny or purpose in life. You know, don't waste it. Nobody else deserves to be more successful than me or than you. We all deserve to be successful in our own right, in our own mind, you know. So I hope that we begin to say these things to ourselves. I hope that we begin to recognize it. I hope that we begin to identify what our gifts and talents are out there, and that we equally go out there, you know, and just put the plan into place so we could attain those things that we really were designed to attain in life. That's all I have to say. It's all a rush, but I hope someone's encouraged and gets the message. If you do have anything else you want to say, please kindly drop me a note, or drop me an email. Drop me a comment or drop me an email. Otherwise, until I speak later, or until I speak to you again, good night and God bless.